so the last two really, one is some countries have been measuring people's temperatures before they go into supermarkets, hospitals. It seems that the UK hasn't gone down that path. Do you think that that's because it's not really relevant in the UK, or is it just a different way of doing things?
My personal view is that temperature screening, which is what you're describing, is a waste of time. It's aesthetic more than anything else. There have been quite a few studies from around the world which have shown that temperature screening is pretty poor at identifying people with disease, including in hospital settings. So you might find less than half of the people with COVID actually have a temperature. And the danger with doing that is you then give people false reassurance. They think, oh, I've been screened for a temperature, so I haven't got it, when that's not true. But it's one of those urban myths, isn't it? We've seen news clips from Singapore or, I don't know, Australia or wherever it happens to be, and they've done thermal screening. You think, oh gosh, why aren't we doing that? But it's one of those where the evidence isn't strong for it.
So do you think some of the differences in the UK's approach is cultural, or do you think that it's heavily much more maybe based on more science, or why do you think we've got a slightly different approach?
Think back to 2000.
Or is that the unanswerable question?
You're right. There are lots of unknowns out there. But I think when you look to the East Asian countries, they had a real scare back in 2003 with the first SARS epidemic. And it was at a time when there were lots of deaths and lots of infection, and it really ground their societies down to a halt. So for them, they've really adopted a much more stringent precautionary approach than we have. And in the past, people have gone, oh, look, they're wearing a face mask. Why are they doing that? Whereas now we'd be thinking, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We should be wearing a face mask. Yeah. So you're right. Some of it will be cultural. Some of it will be born out of history, per se. And I think we've got a lot to learn for us in the West, from these countries in the Asia-Pacific region that have done things differently. It would be good to not repeat mistakes they have made and learn from the solutions that have worked that they've implemented.